Hey guys, this is E with Scrapbooking with Me, and welcome to Tuesday's Tips, Tricks, and Techniques. Every Tuesday, I'm going to give you some tips to make your life a little bit easier when crafting, tricks to make things easier to come together, and some techniques that maybe you know and maybe you don't know. Just some things that I've learned over my last 25 years of doing this. So today what we're going to concentrate on is die cuts. Now I know all of us have tons and tons of die cuts, and these are the thin paper die cuts. They're okay to put flat down on a sheet or in a mini album, to put flat down beside a photo. They're fine to do that. But when you try to pop these up, if you put dimensionals behind them, then they're going to give a little bit. They're either going to sag on the side or sag in the middle, and that's a little bit aggravating. I like for mine to be flat looking. I like for my albums to be dimensional and everything in them to have a little bit of dimension. That just makes it more pleasing to the eye. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to take just some plain cardstock embellishments like this. These are just die cuts, and create your own chipboard embellishments. So this is just our lightweight chipboard, and this is one of the embellishments that we will be using on the mini album that we're going to finish up hopefully on Friday. So make sure that you're tuned in for that. And then I'm just going to use some of our art glitter glue. Now a lot of you probably already know how to do this kind of thing. Some of these techniques and tricks are going to be things that you may already know how to do, and that's great if you do. But I know there's quite a few people that watch our channel that are just starting out in scrapbooking or crafting, and they might not know how to do this. So that's why we're going to put some things like this up. All right, I just glued that flat down onto my chipboard, and then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm taking my big large scissors, and I'm going to turn my scissors to the right. I'm right-handed. I'm going to turn my scissors to the right. I'm not going to hold them straight up. I'm going to turn them to the right, and I'm going to come in kind of under the edge of that die cut. I'll show you in a second. It'll be a little bit easier for me to show you once I get some of this cut out. So if you hold your scissors straight up, what that's going to do is it's going to cut your chipboard exactly at the end of your embellishment. If you hold them to the right angle, it's going to cut a little bit shorter than your embellishment. So therefore, it's going to hide the edge of that chipboard underneath that die cut. And I'll show you in one second. Let me go around this. Okay, so I think you can see on the back where the chipboard's just a little bit shorter than the edge of the die cut, and that's what you want. You're still going to get that same strength, and you're going to get that pop-up of the three-dimensional look, but your chipboard's not going to show around the edge, and that's what you want. So just make sure to turn your scissors at that right angle, and then just trim around. There we go. So see, you can see my embellishment perfectly, but you can't see anything sticking out around the edge. And that's because the back, my chipboard, is just a tiny bit smaller than my die cut. Now, I've seen some people just cut a piece of chipboard and put in the center and glue it down like that. That's okay, but I still say that if you did that, the edges would eventually just kind of wilt down, and I don't want that. I want the whole thing to be thick and nice and sturdy. Now, if this is not thick enough for you, this is a thin chipboard. If this is not thick enough, you can always put it down and put another layer on that. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this, because this is going to go on the front of our little album. So I'm going to put this down and put another layer. Now you could start out with a thicker chipboard if you want, but the thicker chipboard that you put under here, the harder it's going to be for you to trim with your scissors. So I'd rather do a couple of thin layers to get it like I want and be able to trim it than to try to do one thick layer and then not be able to cut it very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim this one the exact same way. Okay, so there we go. We've got that trimmed out. And now it's nice and thick. And when we put this down, you won't be able to see that chipboard. You'll just be able to see our embellishment. You can also take your paper that has these little cutouts on them, and you can cut these out and use those and make those more three-dimensional if you want. You can take these little flags. Now I'm going to use these flags in my mini album as well, and I'd like for them to have a little bit more dimension on them. Get that little piece off. So you can take these flags and you can put them down just like that. Just glue them down there and then just trim those out. So let's go ahead and do that. And this takes very little chipboard. And like I said, we do have this chipboard in the shop, and I'll link it directly below if you're interested. But I love this thinner chipboard to do things like this. I like a nice chipboard sticker, but sometimes you get a bag of these embellishments, and there'll be a bag of these embellishments in your January kit, and this is just a way to make them a little bit more useful and a little bit more sturdy when you start putting them in your mini albums and things like that. Again, we're just going to turn our scissors, making sure that we're cutting up underneath that. And if you don't have any of these Tim Holtz shears, they are ideal for cutting chipboard. They'll cut through the thick chipboard, but you have to have kind of strong hands. My hands are not that strong, so I don't usually try to cut too much through the thicker chipboard with them, but they'll cut through it. But they're nice and sharp. They have the serrated edge, and they're just really, really easy to use. I'll link those below as well if you're interested in those. And there you go. You have your flags, and they're nice and sturdy. Now they're ready to use, and you won't have to worry about them collapsing if you put a dimensional under them. So that's just a little quick tip for you if you have lots of these die cuts and you would like to use them. That's just a little tip for you on how to make them a little bit more sturdy, and just put some chipboard behind them and trim them out, and then you can put your dimensionals under there. You don't have to worry about them sagging or anything like that. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to click that little bell so that you'll be notified when we put up new videos. We will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.